Plan. There will be days when everything feels like too much. Days when your heart is heavy. Plan. And your hands can no longer hold what you've carried for too long. You'll feel like giving up. Not out of weakness. Plan. But out of exhaustion. But I want to tell you something today that might just shift everything. You don't have to quit. Plan. You can just start again. You don't need to erase your past or silence your scars. You only need one quiet decision to begin. Plan. Even if it's from the same broken place. Plan. There is no shame in falling. Only in staying down when you still have breath left in your body and light left in your story. We often treat falling as the final verdict, as if the moment you slip, plan, stumble, or lose your footing, you've proven something terrible about yourself. But that's not the truth. Plan. Falling is part of being human. It's part of trying. It's part of caring enough to keep walking. Plan. The ground may feel harsh when it greets you, but it does not define you. Plan. What defines you is what you choose to do next. Not how you landed, but whether you rise again. Plan. The world may see falling as weakness, but there's a quiet kind of strength in those who get back up. Plan. When everything inside you is tired, when the noise of self-doubt grows loud. Plan. When your dreams feel far away and broken, and yet you still choose to stand, even shakily. That is power, that is resilience. Plan. Falling reminds us that we're in motion, that we're still alive, and even in that fall, there is grace. There is learning. Plan. There is still hope. You don't have to pretend it didn't hurt. You don't have to wear a smile over your shattered moments. Plan. But you do need to know this falling is not failure. Failure is when you give up on yourself completely. Plan. Falling is just part of the journey. Everyone who has ever grown, ever succeeded, plan, ever become something beautiful, they all fell too. It didn't stop their story. It shaped it. Plan. The cracks in your journey don't make it worthless. They make it real. So let go of the shame. Plan. Let go of the lie that because you've fallen, you no longer deserve the dream. The dream is still yours. Plan. The path may look different, slower, even messier, but you are still on it. Let falling be the moment you pause. Plan. Not the moment you quit. Let it be the chapter that teaches you how strong you truly are. Not in how perfectly you stand. Plan. But in how courageously you rise again. We often think beginnings belong only to the young, the fresh. Plan. The untouched, as if second chances are reserved for those who haven't made mistakes. But the truth is, plan. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again, no matter how many sunsets you've survived. Plan. Your past doesn't expire your potential. What you've been through doesn't cancel what you can still become. Plan. Your story is not stuck, it is still unfolding. You are allowed to start over, not because you failed. Plan. But because you've grown. There is quiet courage in choosing to turn the page. Plan. Even when your hands are trembling from the last chapter, it takes strength to look at your own life. Plan. With all its chaos and bruises and say, plan, I'm not finished. That choice to begin again isn't about erasing who you were. Plan. It's about honoring who you've become. You carry lessons now. You carry perspective. You carry a softer heart and wiser eyes. Plan. And that makes this new beginning even more meaningful. Starting again doesn't mean you have to leap. Plan. It might just mean standing back up, taking a breath, changing one small thing, letting go of something heavy. Plan. Speaking one honest sentence to yourself. The beginning isn't always loud. Sometimes it's as quiet as a whisper saying, plan, try again. And even if no one claps, even if no one understands, that beginning belongs to you. Plan. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to feel honest. Real. Yours. Plan. You were never meant to live one single version of yourself. You are layers. You are seasons. You are chapters being written, plan, erased and rewritten again. And that's not failure, that's life, that's growth, that's becoming, plan. So if you feel like everything fell apart, maybe it did, but that doesn't mean you did. You are not ruined. You are rebuilding, plan. And this could be the moment the most beautiful part of your story begins, plan. There's a quiet kind of freedom that comes with realizing you can begin again. Not when the world says you're ready, plan. Not when the timing is perfect, but when your heart whispers that it's time, plan. Life doesn't wait for you to be fearless or flawless. It waits for you to choose, and in that choice, to rise after falling, plan. To speak after silence, to rebuild from ruins. Your story starts again, not from the beginning, but from a place of truth, plan. Too often we believe that once something ends, it's over forever. A relationship, a dream, a version of ourselves, plan. But the truth is, endings are often misunderstood beginnings, plan. What if the broken place is actually where something new is being born, plan? What if what felt like a door slamming shut was just nudging you toward a path you wouldn't have taken otherwise, plan? Your story is not a single straight line. It bends, it twists, it circles back, and every turn still counts, plan. You don't need the applause of others to start again. You don't need a stage or a spotlight, plan. You just need permission, and that permission must come from within. Give yourself grace to start over without guilt, plan. Give yourself space to not have it all figured out. You are not behind, you are not late, you are not lost, plan. You are exactly where your next beginning is meant to find you, and it doesn't need to look like anyone else's path, plan. The beauty of life is that you are allowed to reinvent yourself, plan. You're allowed to rewrite your narrative, not because the past didn't matter, but because it taught you what matters more, plan. Let your new beginning carry the wisdom of your scars and the softness of your heart. Let it be messy. Let it be unsure, plan. But let it be yours. You're not starting from nothing. You're starting from experience, from healing, from hope, plan. And that is more than enough to begin again, plan. We live in a world that glorifies hustle and speed, where the one who keeps going is celebrated, plan, and the one who pauses is seen as falling behind. But here's a truth we often forget: rest is not weakness, plan, and stopping is not quitting. There is immense power in the stillness, in choosing to pause, not because you've given up, plan, but because your soul is asking to breathe. You are not a machine. You are a living being, and rest is a part of your rhythm, plan, not a break in your worth. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to stop, to put everything down and say, plan, I need a moment. Not because you are lazy, not because you are incapable, but because healing happens in the quiet, plan. Growth takes root in the soil of rest. Your value isn't tied to how many tasks you complete or how fast you move, plan. It's tied to who you are beneath the noise. And often, that voice only gets louder when everything else softens, plan. Resting allows you to return to yourself. It gives you the chance to listen to the ache in your heart, the fatigue in your bones, plan. The silence in your spirit. It helps you remember why you started in the first place. It realigns your journey with your purpose, plan. And it gives your strength time to recover so that when you rise again, plan. You're not dragging your soul behind you. You're carrying it with intention, clarity, and grace. You are allowed to pause, plan. You are allowed to take a step back. You are allowed to protect your peace before you pour into the world again, plan. The sun sets every night, not because it's quitting, but because it knows the importance of rest before it rises again, plan. And just like the sun, you are allowed to dim for a while. Not to disappear, but to prepare for your next light, plan. We often wait for the perfect moment to begin again. A grand sign, a burst of motivation, plan, or a wave of clarity that washes away all fear. But life doesn't usually work like that. Sometimes, plan. The most life-changing shifts begin with the smallest steps. A breath, a decision, a whisper to yourself that says, "Not today, plan. I won't give up today." Those tiny moments, often unseen and uncelebrated, are where real transformation begins. Not with noise, plan, but with quiet courage. We underestimate the power of moving forward slowly. We compare ourselves to others sprinting past us, plan, forgetting that even crawling in the right direction is progress, plan. A single choice to show up, even on the days you feel empty, matters. A decision to drink water, to write one line, plan. To take one deep breath, it matters. Because consistency in the smallest things builds a strength the world can't always see, plan. But your soul never forgets. Your small steps are not small at all. They are proof you're still fighting, plan. There will be days when your mind says, "What's the point?" And your body feels too tired to try. On those days, plan. Remember this, you don't need to do everything. You only need to do something. One thing. One honest attempt, plan. That step doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to lead to instant results, plan. It only needs to move you closer to who you want to become. Over time, those steps become momentum, plan. And that momentum becomes change. The path to healing, to purpose, to self-worth. It's not a straight line, plan. And it's not always fast. But it is yours. And as long as you're still stepping, still showing up, plan, still trying, you are not stuck. You are moving, maybe not with speed, but with intention. Maybe not loudly, but with meaning, plan. Don't wait for a breakthrough. Let your breakthrough come from every small, quiet decision to keep going, plan. Because those are the steps that truly build the life you deserve. We are taught to hide our scars, to cover them with silence, plan, to smooth them over with forced smiles and well-practiced answers. But scars are not shameful, plan. They are living proof that you made it through something that tried to destroy you. Every scar, plan, whether visible on your skin or quietly etched into your heart, carries a story of survival. You were wounded, yes, plan. But more importantly, you healed. That's what the scar says, plan. Not "I was broken," but "I kept going." You don't need to explain your pain to anyone, plan. You don't need to defend why it hurt so deeply or why it took so long to recover. Pain is not a contest. Healing is not a race, plan. And your scars are not for decoration. They are reminders of the battles fought in silence, plan. Of the nights you stayed up holding yourself together. Of the mornings you showed up even when it felt impossible, plan. Those scars are not flaws. They are medals, silent, sacred proof of endurance. Too often, we look at our scars and see weakness, plan. But the truth is, a scar only forms where healing has already begun. The wound is over. The skin, plan. The spirit, they repaired themselves. The scar is what remains not as a mark of damage, but as a symbol of strength, plan. You didn't just survive the fall, you rebuilt yourself afterward. And while the world may not see the depth of your scars, plan, you do. You feel them when you speak your truth. You see them when you remember your journey, and that makes them powerful, plan. So don't hide what hurt you. Don't silence the parts of you that had to fight hardest to stay alive. Your scars make you real, plan. They make you relatable. They remind others that it's possible to go through the worst and still come out with your soul intact, plan. You are living, breathing testimony that survival is possible. And that's something to honor, not erase. Let your scars speak, plan. Not in pain, but in pride. Because you're still here, plan. And that means something. Sometimes we stay on roads that no longer feel right, simply because we've walked them for so long, plan. We tell ourselves we've already come too far to turn around. We cling to plans, to roles, to expectations, not because they fulfill us, but because we're afraid to disappoint others, or admit that we've outgrown them. But let this be your reminder: you are allowed to change direction, You are not a failure for evolving. You are not lost for choosing a new way forward. You are human, and humans grow, Life is not a straight path. It bends, it reroutes. It asks you to listen to the quiet tug in your chest that says, This doesn't feel like me anymore. And that voice, that is not confusion, that's clarity, You're allowed to walk away from things that once made sense but no longer do. You're allowed to say, this dream served me, but I need something different now. Your value is not tied to staying the same, It's found in your willingness to honor who you're becoming, Changing your path doesn't mean you've wasted the journey so far, It means the journey taught you enough to know what you want differently now. The experience wasn't in vain. The lessons, the moments, the growth, they were part of preparing you for what's next. You're not starting over from zero, You're starting over with wisdom, and that is a powerful place to begin again. Growth means movement, and sometimes, movement requires letting go. You don't need anyone's permission to change, You don't have to justify your shift to anyone who doesn't live in your skin, Your peace matters more than someone else's approval. The world may not understand your choice, but they don't have to, What matters is that it feels right to you. This is your life, your story, and you deserve to walk a path that feels honest, even if it means leaving behind one that looked perfect from the outside. There's a quiet kind of pressure we all carry, the idea that by a certain age, at a certain time, in a certain way, we should have it all figured out. But life doesn't move on a schedule, Healing doesn't follow a deadline. Becoming who you truly are is not a race. It's a journey, and one that takes time, patience, and many, many restarts. You are still becoming, and that is not something to be ashamed of. That is something to honor. Some days you may feel behind, as if everyone else is ahead of you. More certain, more successful, more complete, But you are not late. You are not lacking. You are exactly where your becoming needs you to be, Growth doesn't always look like a straight line, Sometimes it looks like falling apart and coming back together in ways you never expected. And that's okay, because even in the silence, even in the setbacks, something inside you is still blooming, You've come through things you never thought you'd survive. And yet you're here, maybe not with every answer, maybe not with unshakable confidence, but here, and that counts for something, Don't let your current uncertainty make you doubt your strength. You are still becoming, still learning to love yourself, still learning to let go, still learning to trust the process. That is not weakness, That is courage, the kind of courage that keeps going, even when no one is watching. So don't stop now, Don't judge yourself for how far you haven't come. Celebrate how far you've already traveled. Becoming is not about perfection, it's about truth. And the truth is, you are not done yet. There is more of you to rise, more of you to heal, more of you to discover. And every step you take, no matter how slow, is a sacred part of that unfolding, The best version of you isn't behind you, it's waiting, just up ahead, So if today feels heavy, if the road behind you is long and the path ahead looks uncertain, pause. Breathe. And remember this, You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing. Willing to take one more step, willing to start again, not because you failed, but because you still believe there's more inside you. And there is. You have survived too much to give up now. Plan. You have endured storms, heartbreaks, and moments where you thought you'd never rise again. But you did. Plan. And that means you can do it one more time. Not for anyone else, not for the world, but for you. Plan. For the version of you who still dares to hope, who still aches to grow, who still wants to live a life that feels real. Plan. This isn't the end of your story. It's a new sentence, a new breath, a new beginning wrapped quietly in this very moment. Plan. So no matter how many times you've fallen, how many times you've doubted, plan. How many times you've had to start over, start again. Gently, honestly, fearfully, maybe, but still start. Plan. Because you were never meant to quit. You were meant to rise. And rise you will.